Bolton gets on with it, and so does the Northwest. And today, I'm here with someone who proves it on this week's episode of Streets Ahead. I'm talking to Maura Jackson, comedian, published author, and leadership specialist, and a very good friend. So welcome, Maura.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us on our first episode of Streets Ahead. So let's get into it. Let's just do it. First thing I want to ask you is about what has brought you here today in terms of what you're doing now. You've had quite a year, so what's led you to where you are now?
I have had quite a year.
Yes, you have.
And it continues to be quite a year.
Yeah.
It's getting better and better, actually. So I have just stepped down as the CEO of Back Up Northwest, which is a homeless charity. So I finished there in March after 14 years leading that organisation and growing it. And before that, I was the chief exec of a domestic abuse charity in West London. So I've been a CEO for the last 18 years, but I've worked in social care for 36. So I realised a couple of years ago at one of our events when I was listening to a colleague speak at a presentation, and I can remember, pinpoint the moment, and a thought popped into my head, and I just thought, I think this might be my last AGM, or maybe next year might be the last. And I don't know why the thought popped in. I don't know what he'd said that prompted it, but the thought popped in, and I felt sick.
Right, the realisation.
I just thought, where's that come from, and why would I think that? I'm never leaving Back Up. I love this job, and obviously I did. I've not left because I've not loved it. I've left because things have shifted. So that then, I sat with it for 4 months and felt guilty and thought, I've got this horrible, guilty secret that I might not stay at Back Up. And oh my God, what does this mean? And then started to think, well, I've been doing a side hustle for a bit, which was the stand-up comedy, but that is only a hobby. I thought, well, could there be something else? What else could it be? So what happened in about an 18-month period, around the same time, was another little thing that dawned on me, is I used to get lots of calls from other chief execs of charities and other organisations who'll say, can I just pick your brains? Can I just run this past you? What do you think about this? And I thought, I feel like I'm a bit of a go-to person, like a sounding board, which is great because we all need that. And as a leader, I needed that with other people. And I thought, there might be something in this. Now, a few years previously, I'd done my ILM level 7 coaching and mentoring certificate. So I was already in that frame of mind of supporting other people, enabling other people. I've done it all the time in my career. But then I thought, well, actually, maybe this could be more than that. Yeah. So I started to evolve the business, which was called The Feather Fixer. And all I was doing then was comedy gigs. I only set the business up so I didn't get done off the tax man. So that's the only reason I actually went official with a name and got a brand and everything. And now look where I am, sort of thing. So that's kind of how it evolved. That's how it started. And then I started to think strategically about, well, I can't just be faffing about doing bits of comedy because let me tell you, that ain't paying no mortgage. So I've got to crack on and do something else. So I had a look properly at the mentoring and what that would look like, what I could offer, how much would I charge, all that sort of stuff that you look at when you're setting up a business, and just started to practice. So I ran some masterclasses. I used people, including yourself, as guinea pigs to deliver those programs of leadership support and see what landed, what didn't land, what went really well, what the feedback was like. And that, again, helped me to evolve. And as you know, at the same time, I was writing the book.
Yes.
So all this sort of happened in the same 2-year window, which I thought was accidental and coincidental, but I don't think so. I think really everything happens for a reason. It all seemed to then align to, I'm in a position where I'm ready to actually give me notice in on my full-time job and run this as a business. So that's where we are. So I finished in March and I'm 3 months into being self-employed.
Wow, right, okay. God, it has really been a whirlwind, hasn't it? The book, I love it. Tell us about it.
Well, the book, Finding Your Feathers, is all about leadership, but it's not a theoretical, academic book. It's really based on very practical scenarios. It's really based on experience. So as I've said, I've got so many years in leadership and senior leadership that I started to think about, well, if I'm going to run a masterclass, what is the content? What is the message? What do I want to share? And that kind of boiled down into sort of 7 key areas that I'd learned really. things around pitfalls. And, you know, I've been doing presentations for a long time, public speaking, mainly about the charity and the work. And that then evolved into talking about myself as a business leader, myself as a person, speaking at lots of events for lots of people. And I thought, I'm going to have to refine this message. It's just happening like naturally, organically, really. So then I ended up with these 7 core principles that then they are the kind of
it's like the framework.
Yeah, that's the framework. Yeah, definitely. And then some sort of other stuff around that. The reason why it's called Find Your Feathers and that I'm called the Feather Fixer is that for one of the presentations I did many years ago, I discovered that the reason why the tribal leaders in the indigenous tribes wore the great big headdresses made of feathers is because every time you came back from a battle unharmed, that's what you got. You got a feather.
Yeah.
And so I was using the analogy of the feathers around, you know, they represent bravery, strength, courage. And I thought I really like that in leadership, that you don't just get picked because of popularity or, you know, all your mates have voted you in. You're visibly the leader of the tribe because you've got all the feathers, because you've earned them, because you survived all the battles. And I thought, I really love this.
Yeah.
So, of course, you know, we all like a metaphor and I mix mine up all the time. But then that kind of led into birds, you know, feathers and birds and all the puns that come with that. So the book is full of puns, I'm afraid, about birds and feathers and birds of a feather flock together and, you know, getting your ducks in a row, keeping your head out of the sand. It all makes perfect sense.
You can follow the logic.
There is logic, but it's just, you know, it's just a way of kind of keeping the book connected really to people and keeping it relatable, because what I didn't want was some kind of like evangelical, do it my way thing, because I'm just not about that. But also, I didn't want it to be all theory. I've done the theory.
Yeah.
You know, I've done the qualifications. There's a place for that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's showing people how to walk the walk, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And not just read textbooks and
so there's
things
some practical
like that.
stuff in there for people to reflect on, literally write down, you know, put pen to paper and work out some certain things. But hopefully there's also, you know, whilst there's a really serious message in there, there's some really true examples of things that I've experienced to hopefully show people some of the pitfalls and remind us that we're all people at the end of the day, and it's very isolating in any kind of leadership position, especially if you're running your own business. Yeah. And sometimes you just got to think, I've got this. Yeah. I'm actually okay. Yeah. I just need to perhaps change a few things or surround myself with other people or, you know, delete some people. You know, sometimes you have to move yourself and shift. Yeah. We all do that as we evolve as people, but as leaders. Yeah. And so that's what I wanted to get across, that anybody can do this. You know, I've gone from being a teenage single parent to being an award-winning chief exec and now author. And I just think, bloody hell, if I can do that, a girl from Dobble, then any bugger can.
I thought it was called Dobley, no?
It's not Dobley. And it's spelt Daub Hill. But no, we should call it Dobley, actually. But yeah, Daub Hill is where I originate from. Daub Hill.
So you're 3 months in, and as the Feather Fixer, you do quite a few different things. What would you say has been your win so far in terms of the services you offer? Because it's not just one, it's bespoke services depending on the organisation, the individual. What's been your sort of favourite thing to work on so far, would you say, in the last 3 months?
I've just kind of put that into a more structured way. And I just love getting the feedback from people that it's helped them, that they are, you know, able to evolve themselves, that it's having a benefit on them personally, but also on the business. So one mentoring client told me a couple of weeks ago, for example, that she feels like a different person.
Right.
And that I have completely transformed the way that she works. Yeah. And that she doesn't think that her business would have survived the last 6 months. She was at a point where it was so much in deficit financially that she didn't think she could continue. Yeah. And within 2 months, we'd got her back into the black. Yeah. And then she's now, you know, running with a bit of a surplus.
Yeah,
so
right. Brilliant.
I've only been working with her for 6 months.
That's amazing.
And I thought, that's ace. Yeah. And so as a result of that, she's got peace of mind. Yeah. Her organisation is having positive impact on people. Yeah. And, you know, she is flourishing. I can see it.
And it's not just about the money, is it? It's how she's getting on within herself.
Absolutely. And, she looks like a different person. Yeah. It's
like a
so
fire
lovely.
Starter, reigniting that fire in people,
That's what I should call myself. The Feather Fixer Fire Starter. All the Fs. I mean, it is that. You want to ignite that passion in people. I mean, that's part of my responsibility, is to get people to a point where they're absolutely loving what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, what are the things that really give them that fire in the belly and think, these are the bits of the business I love and I want to focus on.
Right.
We all have bits in our business that we don't love and they need to be done. Yeah. But then where'd you get the joy from?
Yeah.
Because you can have both.
Yeah.
And so some of the conversations are about that.
Yeah.
The other part of the work that I do is consultancy.
Okay.
This has been equally rewarding because through relationships that I've developed over the years, I've ended up with a couple of clients who have been watching me from afar on LinkedIn, and then realised that once I'd finished, you know, I'm the person they wanted to work with. So that's been lovely. I mean, one of them said she'd been watching my content on LinkedIn for 12 years.
Really?
And that when I said I was finishing with self-employed, that, I want you to help me.
Right, okay. Right.
This is Imagination Street. A whole vintage street, cafe, shop fronts, the lot, built inside a Bolton mill. Not your average venue, but it works for real. Rooms to meet and train, space to host 100. Corners to break away and think. And somewhere to unwind when the day's done. Hire it, hosting it, or just come in for a nosy. YourImaginationStreet.com.
Flipping heck.
Yeah.
What have I said over the last 12 years?
Yeah. And you just...
I've not been cancelled.
And you just don't know, do you, what people can see? And
timing's everything. So when people, you know, either I was ready to help her and then she was ready to get the support and, you know, and be in a position to pay for it as well, obviously. So that's always a key thing. But the consultancy has taken me so far to working in Poole. I've been to Leicester last week. I've been to and Manchester, and then some local ones. Now, this doesn't sound very salubrious, you know, to people who might travel internationally or whatever, and that's fantastic. But honestly, when you work for a local organisation in Bolton, you know, I'm lucky when I get past Farnworth. Yeah. So
you're in a triangle.
To go to these places, and you know, I've been doing a lot of work in Wigan recently as well, and I'm working for private companies as well as not-for-profit. Yeah. So I'm just meeting loads of great people. Yeah. And getting stuck into really like interesting pieces of work that I just think, God, I wouldn't have even said two of the jobs I'm doing at the moment. I wouldn't have even said I would have kind of put myself out for and said, yeah, I can do that. But they've approached me and said, will you do this for us? Yeah. Now, one of them I thought, I'm not even sure. But I said, yeah.
Yeah. Figure it out after.
And then deal with it later. So it's all working well. You know, I'm being paid and they seem to be okay. But it's that sort of thing. You've got to find your way, haven't you? Yeah. And then I'm hoping that in a couple of months when I've done a bit more of everything, that I'll settle into a lane of, right, this is where it's going to go. But actually, having said that, even though those two are the core office of the work, the consultancy I thought I was going to be doing around maybe business growth or even leadership, I've ended up doing some strategy work, but I'm also doing stuff that's absolutely nothing to do with that. Yeah. I'm looking at all kinds of stuff. So,
and I think as well, it's sort of well and good having that idea, but I think one of the things that you're really good at is offering the bespoke services to different individuals and different sorts of companies. So you don't necessarily need to pick just one thing. It's tailored to that, you know, organisation.
It is, but it is quite difficult then, isn't it, when somebody sort of says, you know, what's your elevator pitch? Yeah. And I think, oh my God, I've got 18 things on the list and people have lost the will to live after the first 5. So I do need to kind of hone in and think, right, what is the speciality? So it's like when people first introduce me as a comedian and think, it's a hobby that. Yeah. It is a hobby. Yeah.
So tell us about the comedy, because we can't talk to you and not talk about the comedy.
Well, the comedy is 4 years. 4 years. 4 years in August. I've been doing stand-up comedy. So the first time ever was the 18th of August, 2022.
And what was that? What event was it?
It was a competition for new comedians. I read it. It was an advert on Facebook, and I thought new comedians, that must mean people who've never done it before.
Yeah.
What it really meant was people who might have been doing it for up to 5 years, but just weren't paid.
Let me ask you something. From seeing that advert to applying to do it, how long did that take you?
5 weeks. There was a 5-week window.
5 weeks, right, okay.
So I applied, and then they sent me an email back saying, great, you're on the lineup. But when I applied, I had COVID. I was at home. I tested positive for COVID. I was poorly.
Yeah.
Absolutely riddled with cocodamol.
Yeah.
So just doom scrolling as you do. Saw the advert, clicked on the thing. Yeah, I can do that. Of course I can. I'm full of cocodamol. It's fine. And then 3 days later, when the email came back from the guy, I just thought, no way.
Yeah.
What the effing hell have I agreed to do this for? So I emailed him and said, I made a mistake, so I'm not doing it. I'm really sorry to sort of mess you about, but no. Then he rang me and said, well, there must have been something that made you click on the thing. You ever just randomly clicked on it. I said, Lou, I've done a lot of public speaking.
Yeah.
People have said I'm quite funny, just being cocky, full of painkillers. I'm not doing it. So then he said, well, that's a shame because you're the only woman on the lineup and you'd be really, striking a blow for women.
Right, okay.
And I thought,
oh, what a guilt trip.
Well, I thought a lot worse than that, but I thought, right, I'm going to have to, so I thought I can't back down now, I've got to do it.
Yeah.
So I turned up, realised within 5 minutes that some of these other people knew each other. There were 12 of us.
Yeah.
And I'd performed many, many times, like hundreds of times in some cases.
Yeah.
But in the world of comedy, 2, 3, 4 years is still considered new.
Right, okay.
So I was the only one who literally hadn't done it before. I nearly left.
How did it go?
But I'd invited loads of people I knew, so I couldn't bail.
Where was this?
It was at Definitely Maybe in Bolton.
Oh, okay, yeah, right, yeah.
So, anyway, I did it.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant, and I won the competition.
Why did you invite loads of people you knew? For moral support or?
Yeah, thought this is going to be fun.
Right.
Everybody's new. We're all in the same boat. Everybody's not new though, are they?
Yeah.
One of us is new.
Yeah, just Jake.
And everyone else knows what they're doing. So that just kind of sparked something then, because I did enjoy it. And I didn't just enjoy the performing. I love that.
Yeah.
I love the writing of the material, getting all that ready.
Yeah.
I just loved it all.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, I'm going to do it again. So I rang a woman up at the Frog and Bucket about 2 days later and said, she must have thought, who is this Muppet? I said, I won this competition in Bolton, this comedy competition. How do I get on at the Frog and Bucket?
Yeah.
So she just burst out laughing and said, ring us back in about 7 years when you've actually got some experience.
Oh, really?
And I mean, then I just thought rude, but I know how the system works now. You have to have a lot of you have to have 10,000 hours of stage time. That's what they tell you to aim for before you get paid work.
Right, okay.
Well, I thought, I'm not doing that.
I was going to say, you've got
I've got time for that. I'll be dead.
Yeah.
So I thought I need to be a bit smarter about this. So anyway, to cut a very long story short, I ended up doing the Beat the Frog, which is technically the Gong Show on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Got onto one of them, won that. That was about a month later. So I thought, well, the first one could have been a fluke. It's in my hometown. It was only 40 or 50 people. But the second one, Frog and Bucket, 200 people. Yeah. It's a proper, I thought, right, no, it's not a fluke. I can do this. So just carried on.
Yeah.
A year in, I just thought, I've been all over the country doing 5 and 10 minute sets, trying to build up that stage time. And I thought, this is not smart. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've got 2 grandchildren that live with me.
Yeah.
I'm working full-time plus.
Yeah.
In a busy, demanding job.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now I think it's a good idea to drive to Sheffield after work and do a 5 minute set. This is madness.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a bit of an epiphany on the road back from London one day where I'd done a 10-hour round trip to perform at the Comedy Store, and I got gonged off after 1 minute 41 seconds. It was brutal.
And was that paid for work?
Was it? Balls. Anyway, I drove on, so I didn't stop crying until I got to Oxford.
Right.
And then the rest of the journey, I had a word with myself and thought, no, I won't be doing any more gong shows. It is a hobby.
Yeah.
So actually, I just need to come back to that and remind myself that I want to be doing this for the joy.
Yeah.
Not stress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I run my own comedy nights now where I get to bring other comedians in. They all get paid. There's none of this freebie shazzle at my events. And I've used quite a lot of them to raise money for charity as well. So that's like a double bonus for me.
And they're always sold out, aren't they? These comedy
they sell
nights.
out now,
Yeah, that's amazing. So
it's took me about 2 years to get to that point, but got traction and following and people who come every time. And so they do sell out pretty quickly.
So I always love hearing what your mum has to say about things. I find it so funny. So when you decided that you were going to be a comedian as a bit of a side hustle and you told your mum, what does she say?
She thinks I'm absolutely off my head. I couldn't use the language that she would use, but I've not bred out. So she just basically sends me texts on a regular basis saying you're effing mental.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do this? So I think she's proud.
Yeah.
I know she's proud of not necessarily the comedy.
Yeah.
But in general, but I think she sort of looks at me sometimes and thinks, oh God, what now? What is happening?
What's going on now?
Yeah. Why can't you just get a job in an accountant's and work there till you retire?
So what did
and not
she
give
say?
me any stress?
So that leads me nicely on. What on earth did she say when you decided to leave a secure job like CEO with backup to go self-employed as a feather fixer? What was her reaction there?
Well, I told her we were driving in the car and we were going to somewhere like Chester. We were going out for the day, and I said, "Look, I'm ready. I'm going to leave backup.
Yeah.
You know, my paid, secure job, salaried, after, gazillion years, and I'm going on my own." And she was very quiet and said, "Okay, well, I'm sure you've thought it through, and please tell me you're not doing the comedy." I was like, "No, I'm not doing the comedy." But then she sort of said, "Okay," and then we carried on and we talked about some other bits and pieces. And then she just said, "I need to ask you a question now, but don't be offended." Like, "What is it?" And she went, "Are you any good?" And I said, "At what?" She said, "At anything. Is anybody going to pay you to do anything? Where's the money going to come from?" I said, "No, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I am good at what I do." So she's like, "Oh, all right then."
She must be gobsmacked by how well you're doing and how much it's taken off.
3 months in, so only last week, I had a conversation with her to tell her that I'm getting a third dog.
Oh,
so I said, "Right, I need to tell you something. We're getting another Shih Tzu."
Yeah.
"Oh my God, how much is that?" I said, £700. And her response to that was, "I've been worrying for 2.5 months that you weren't making any money, that somehow this business wasn't working, and you're getting a dog for £700, so you must be doing okay." I said, "We're all right."
Yeah, that's
So she's
brilliant.
like, "I just feel so much better now." I said, "What, because I'm getting a dog?" She said, "Yeah, because you've got money to spare to get a dog, you must be doing okay."
Yeah, that's
So that's the
amazing.
thing that's made her feel better.
Good, right. So she's all right now.
Yeah.
How would your friends describe you, would you say?
Well, it depends which one you're talking to, quite frankly. But I would say they would describe me as confident, outgoing, funny, loyal, supportive, good leader, probably brave.
Yeah.
I think people would describe me as brave, but with a caveat that in small letters underneath, that includes being reckless.
Yeah. Well, you are brave. And I think that's one of the things to go from your job at backup and having the confidence and the bravery to do what you've done.
I know.
For anyone listening who wants to make this massive change, what made you think you could do it? Where did you get that bravery from, the confidence to do it?
That's a good question, because I've always been confident, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But then there has been moments in the last, because I gave them notice last June. So I gave them 10 months notice because I wanted them to have loads of time to like sort things out. But actually that gave me time to then second guess, doubt myself. I did have a couple of wobbles and think, what if I don't get any clients? What if I don't get any business? Seriously, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'll get another job.
So that was your backup plan?
Yeah.
Don't work, I'll
but
get another
then
job.
that still would have caused problems because there would be a gap somewhere in income. I wouldn't have had continuous income. I didn't have any money in the bank.
Yeah.
It's not as if I had a slush fund or anything to fall back on. This had to happen immediately.
Yeah.
So I started building up the business probably the middle of last year properly, and worked, I'm not even exaggerating, every evening that I was in, I've been working. I've either been developing content, looking at the framework, building up the masterclasses, selling masterclasses, trying to promote mentoring, doing free mentoring so that I could develop some of the skills and get some feedback and testimonials on it. I've just worked round the clock for months.
Yeah.
And that's only really just stopped where I've kind of thought, I don't need to open my laptop tonight. I don't need to make a phone call. I'm not on a Teams call. So that felt weird.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, I've just been working 2 jobs
Yeah.
for nearly a year.
Yeah.
And now I'm just doing 1.
Okay, yeah.
But there is still that element of bravery because,
Yeah.
you know, nothing's set in stone. There are no guarantees.
Yeah.
And I just had to think, well, something will happen.
Yeah.
And it has.
It's almost as well, because you mentioned your 2 grandchildren, Ruby and Louis, who live with you.
Yeah.
It's almost, you've got that responsibility. So it's almost the fear of it not working drives you.
I kept thinking, so in the first year of the Feather Fixer, I mentioned I registered for tax purposes to make sure it was all legal. So in that first year of totally side hustle, it was either comedy nights that I were running or running as charity events as the Feather Fixer, went through the books. Everything went on the record.
Yeah.
And the turnover in that year, not profit, turnover, £28,000.
Wow, right, okay, just as a side hustle.
So I kept thinking in year 2, which was last year, year 2 of the Feather Fixer, year 1 I turned over 28 grand and that, I mean, the profit was about 5 or 6. So that is irrelevant. It was a side hustle. But the point is if I can do that as a side hustle with minimal effort, no marketing, no real offer, like I hadn't really nailed that down, then what am I going to do when it's my full-time gig?
Yeah, and it's got your focus.
Absolutely, and I'm putting the right energy into it and time and investment and everything. So then in year 2, when we're in this like transition window where I'm still working full-time, I think it's about 50 grand turnover. Now, again, the profit's a lot less.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's a lot of costs in running events and stuff. But even so, I just think, so year 3 trading as the Feather Fixer is my first year self-employed.
Yeah.
See, if I can do that while I work full-time and I had all those responsibilities, what can I do this year?
Yeah.
So the question for me now is, you know, what do I do when I become VAT registered? That's my next hurdle.
Right,
I never thought I'd be having a conversation with them about VAT registered. I didn't think I'd have enough money to have the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, that's a threshold I'm never going to meet.
It's like when you've got to pay your student loan. I'm never going to earn 13 grand. I'm never going to have to pay this back. That's what I always used to think.
Have you paid it back?
Yeah,
Good. I'm glad to hear it. We don't want any, you know, I'm already, you know, I can't stand anything about not compliance. It just makes me nervous.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I think this year, the potential, you know, and again, we're not just talking about the money, but the scope is massive.
Yeah.
Because what's also then happened underneath the leadership, mentoring and the consultancy is the event hosting.
Yes.
So that's, again, you know, come from standing up in public for a long time, running charity events, leading those, and then combined with the stand-up comedy, I end up now with this kind of third area of work where I'm now a paid event host, awards events. I'm looking forward to What Mortgage Awards in July at the Oval in London, where I'm the host. I know, and I just think, how's this happening to me? This is it.
How did that one happen to you, the Oval Award?
The person contacted me and said, would you be interested in this? It's in July. I'm like, yeah, brill. So we had a couple of Teams calls and then I had like a sort of informal interview. And I said to her, can I ask how you found me? And she said, oh, I think somebody in our team did some research and I thought, oh, you know, you'd be a good person to ask. I'm like, right, okay, great. But then when it had been announced online, a lady contacted me on LinkedIn and said, I saw you speak at an event.
Ah, right, okay.
8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I've been following you ever since.
Right.
And they asked me, did I know anybody who would host the awards? And I put your name forward.
Brilliant.
And I thought,
Just
you don't know who's
doesn't it?
watching.
Yeah.
And who's listening. And, you know, I'm doing some consultancy work with a charity in Poole that I mentioned. They're an amazing organisation. And their leader, I met her on a training course 12 years ago.
It's unbelievable.
So I'm working with them now. Really lovely bunch of people and helping them with some strategic development. And then I went down to visit them because I thought, I don't want to do it all remotely.
Yeah.
We can do, and they were happy to do so. But I thought, no, I'm going to go and meet you all and everything. And I think it's a good thing to do. Trip to the seaside never goes amiss anyway. But when I got there, she got me a cup of tea and she gave me a double-decker.
Right.
And I said to her, she said, you still like double-deckers? And I thought, on that training course, I said 12 years ago,
oh my God, if
I'm stressed at work or anybody's like thinking, oh, shall we ask her now, is she busy?
Yeah.
I'd be like, just come in with a double-decker. you need to bribe me with double deckers, that works. And she remembered that.
That's unbelievable.
I just think it's ace, this. So, yeah, if anybody's listening, I really like double deckers. But it's just, so this year I'm planning to, nail down the specialism.
Yeah.
I mean, I am doing the work, I'm doing the graft, and that's all happening.
Yeah.
But in terms of the event hosting and stuff, I just think I'm going to see where that goes and see
You're
what,
so good
what
at
happens.
It. Yeah, and
I think, enjoy it.
Yeah, you're in your element when you do it, and I
do
think
enjoy
it's an organiser, knowing that you're looking after everything and you're a safe pair of hands makes a real difference, because then you can get on and enjoy your event, and you can tailor your style to whatever the event is. So this one's in London, and obviously you've mentioned Paul and you're going all over, but Bolton's your base, isn't it? So what's it been like building this business that's turning out to be phenomenal in Bolton? How's that been for you?
Well, what's been amazing is, I mean, obviously, you can tell by the accent, I'm Bolton born and bred. So, and having worked here for a long time, I've got a lot of connections. I've got a lot of friends and, family and everything. And, obviously, I'm going to start the business here. It's not limited to here. But the thing that makes Bolton special, I mean, it's home, and home is where your heart is, and all of that is true.
Yeah.
And that's because of people. So the people around me, I'm lucky to have such great connections and friendships with people that they only want the best for me. So people support me, but I reciprocate that support. Nothing's a one-way street, is it? Pardon the pun. But it's, it's such a great place to be. I mean, obviously, I'm bringing my family up here, and I love being in a position. And even when I worked in my job, I loved being in a position where I could support other businesses.
Yeah.
So even as a business, you're a consumer, aren't you? You need stuff, you need IT, you need equipment or whatever. We need stuff. So I still try and, use local businesses to be able to do that. I've got local suppliers who I regularly work with. And I think it's great that for us all to be able to support each other. We're a network, aren't we?
Yeah.
And it's good for the town.
Yeah.
It's good for the economy. And there's a lot going on in Bolton at the moment.
There is.
And I think because of the event hosting that I've done and the comedy, more people know me. And even though they might not know me as a leader or a leadership expert, actually I turned up at an event last Friday and the woman said, "Are you the lady that swears?" I thought, flipping heck. I need to
You've
rethink.
done very well.
I need to rethink my marketing strategy. I said, "Well, I am, but that's not why I'm here today." But
well, at least it's memorable.
It is memorable, but possibly for the wrong reasons, and I'm not getting any work out of that. But just a note for the listeners: I don't swear all the time. I've not got Tourette's. But no, I mean, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, my actual job, I could work from anywhere.
Yes.
I could literally pick up and work anywhere. But I would always choose.
It's been a good foundation for you, hasn't it?
It's brilliant. Because people work hard here. There's a strong work ethic in Bolton. It's back to that gritty, northern determination that you see in a lot of towns in the northwest, and we absolutely are the epitome of that. And I have not bred out. I am absolutely that hard work, hard-working, grafting person. And you put in what do you say? No, you get out what you put in. Yeah. You eat what you sow is what I should have said.
Absolutely. Oh, you've got them all today, haven't you?
I'm full of them. Full of analogies and metaphors that don't go together.
So what's next for you? So let's not focus just on the feather fixer. What's next for Maura Jackson?
Well, moving house in about a month's time, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Because I need somewhere where I can have an office, and it sounds so pretentious, but honestly, that's the one downside to working at home, is that I don't really have any space to work. And I've been very lucky in the jobs I've had. I've always had, space, an office of my own and all the rest of it. So there are now Post-it notes stuck randomly around my house and in different books and stuff, and it's just, I feel really disorganised.
Right.
So that was one of the primary reasons, but also we needed something a bit bigger. Yep. So that's fine. We're doing that. That's full on, as anybody knows this is moving house. It's no mean feat.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for that. As a result of being self-employed, a little tiny bit of money in the bank and the recklessness that I mentioned before. I've got 2 holidays in the summer.
Brilliant.
So I wanted the kids to... I mean, that was part of the reason for going self-employed, was that I was more available for the children. That I could either do more or just be less distracted when I was around, because I'm constantly on my phone or dealing with some email or something. And that's definitely shifted. I mean, I've seen that almost immediately.
That's brilliant.
And even though I've got to be focused because it is my own business and I'm more kind of self-reliant, if you like, I've done so much more with the kids, even in 3 months.
That's
it's brilliant. So I booked 2 holidays, like a main holiday and a little small one in the 6-week holidays. So I just thought, at the end of the day, they are going to think, I remember that summer that she stopped working and she went self-employed. Although Ruby keeps saying, what does it feel like to be unemployed? I said, it's not unemployed. It's self-employed. There's a big difference. But, you know, I think they will remember that this happened.
Definitely. And do you know, I think it's less about being reckless. For me, you're just spontaneous.
Well, I'm impulsive.
Oh, I cannot
You already
believe
know
it.
I'm impulsive anyway.
It stresses me out so much.
You tell me that often. You're like, oh my God, what have you just done that for?
You'll think one thing and next minute it's done and I'm like, do you want to take a beat just to think about it? No, I've done it. But it always works out.
I like your
for
accent.
You.
No, I've done it. You sound exactly like me. Yeah.
But it always works out.
It always works out. And, you know, I am a risk taker.
Yeah.
I've always been a risk taker.
It's that bravery we were
But it's
talking
that
about.
calculated, you know, that there is, you know, I do know how to manage and mitigate risk. It isn't recklessness. I know I'm joking about that, but I will take risks. But they will be calculated. There will be a backup plan.
Yeah.
And, you know, if all else fails, I'll say, how bad can it be?
Yeah.
And most times it's been absolutely pigging brilliant, you know, and I think, God, this is ace. Why have I not done this before?
Yeah, it's inspirational and it's that bravery we were talking about earlier. And I think what I'm taking from this is be brave, but have a backup plan. And I think that's...
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the way to do it. So I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions now.
Ooh, exciting.
Right, so... For you, what's the best spot in Bolton to get a great breakfast?
Great breakfast. The place I really like to shut down. And I know that's really not good, is it? Cafe Vienna on Wigan Road, it was bloody brilliant. Loved it there. I think now it would be Curly's.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, that's
Curly's
fab, isn't it?
Fisheries, yeah.
And where is Curly's?
It's on the border of Horwich, driving into Horwich off Charlie Old Road.
Okay, lovely. What's one thing you'd change about the town?
That's hard to answer actually. I think I'd change the town centre.
Yeah,
you know, and make
a lot of people say that.
Busier, yeah. And I know there are plans to do that.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have a town centre in Bolton that feels like a place where you want to go and shop.
Yes. And of course, you're...
I know they're working towards that.
Yeah, but you're, I hope you don't mind me saying, old enough to remember Bolton Town Centre back in the day.
Yeah.
And I love hearing stories because I wasn't around for that.
Oh,
like how good the clubs were.
Yeah. The nightlife was really good. And, you know, I know people's kind of habits around shopping and, you know, going out and socialising have changed. And so that has had a massive impact. That's, you know, what we're experiencing is the same as a gazillion other towns and cities.
Yeah.
But I would love that to come back.
Yeah.
And I think they are working towards that, you know, the powers that be, and they seem to be going in the right direction.
Yeah, it just feels different. It feels
so
like
I love it when we
changing.
have events in Bolton. I think, this is ace, but I just want more of that.
Yeah. And I think the work with the Octagon's brilliant, everything there, the shows they're putting on. So, I agree. You've kind of answered this, but working from home or in the thick of it?
Oh, there's a place for both in the real, but I think in the thick of it for me.
In the thick of it, yeah. You prefer you can do it online, but you like that interaction with
definitely,
people. Okay. The Northwest in 3 words.
Can I swear?
Yeah.
Absolutely frigging Bolton.
That was 3 words. Brilliant, okay. So in terms of Bolton and the people you know of, who do you think streets ahead in Bolton? Who's sort of leading the way for you?
There's loads. There's a lot of people who are, you know, excelling in their field or doing just great things for the town or, you know, doing great things for people. But I think for today, I'm going to mention a lady called Laura O'Brien. Okay,
I've heard her name mentioned a lot, but I'm not really sure what she does. Fill me in.
She is the co-founder of an organisation called FREA.
Okay.
FREA, FREA. Yeah. And it used to be called She Bolton. So this is a group that is set up to support women who are experiencing trauma, any kind of like mental health issue as a result of any trauma or difficulties in their life. And it's peer support. So it's a weekly meeting that started off because herself and the other lady, Emma, had both had terrible experiences in life and they had nowhere to go. They couldn't, the waiting list for the statutory services were enormous, and they were just struggling. But Laura is a senior lecturer in a university. She is like academically qualified to the eyeballs in psychology, mental health, and everything sort of to do with that. She's fantastic. So she set this organisation up. It's been running for a good while on a shoestring.
Right.
And she's still running that, and it's now expanding into other areas, and it's creeping out into other boroughs, and it's expanding and growing. But her mission is not just about providing that literal support for someone who's struggling right now.
Yeah.
She also wants to develop a mandate with Parliament or with government support so that people, organisations and individuals who are in the coaching, mentoring, support space in the voluntary sector have to be some sort of either accredited, qualified, where there's quality assurance, because that doesn't exist now. So people can say, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a whatever, without any substance to back it up. No qualifications, no accreditation, no insurance.
Right.
And what they're doing in some extreme cases is offering services to people that are really vulnerable and struggling, who are paying for support or whatever, either turning up at a group or one-to-one support. And the person they're speaking to, whilst they might have had some experience themselves, personal experience, this does not,
It can actually be more damaging for that person.
And that's the problem.
Right.
So Laura's got a real passion about trying to sort that out. And I just think, you know what, I've met her, I've got to know her, and I think she will do it. So I just love everything about what she's trying to do. And, she is a fellow Boltonian.
Yeah.
And she's absolutely worked her backside off to get where she is, and still wants to give back and give back and give back.
I feel like we need to get her in the studio for Streets Ahead.
Yeah.
Right, okay, brilliant. Maura, it's been amazing speaking to you. I could do it for hours and hours. But that is Streets Ahead for this week. I'm Jac. Mind how you go.